Hi Reds, Manchester United's summer transfer window is certainly not over just yet. And if the latest developments are anything to go by, the final days could be absolutely fascinating around Old Trafford. After completing the signing of Carlos Balde from Brighton, United are now turning their attention towards another important area of the squad, left back. Despite reports suggesting that the club could be finished with their major transfer business, the latest information indicates that United are still actively surveying the market and are determined to explore opportunities before the window finally slams shut. In my opinion, this makes perfect sense, because the left-back position remains one of the areas where United need greater depth, competition, and long-term security. The question now is simple. Who will be the final piece of the summer puzzle? One of the biggest names being linked with Manchester United is Barcelona defender Alejandro Balde. United are reportedly preparing a bid worth around €30 million for the Spanish left-back and could make their move before the transfer window closes. Balde is exactly the type of profile that could excite supporters. He has pace, attacking instincts, the ability to carry the ball forward, and the energy to operate high up the pitch. For a Manchester United side looking to become more aggressive and dynamic, having a naturally attacking full-back capable of stretching opposition defenses could be a major weapon. However, the big question is whether Barcelona would actually consider selling Balde for €30 million, especially given his age and potential. If United genuinely want him, negotiations could become one of the most interesting stories of the final days. Would you Reds take Balde at Old Trafford if the deal becomes possible? At the same time, United are not putting all their eggs in one basket. David Raum has reportedly emerged as another strong contender to solve the left-back problem, with the RB Leipzig defender admitting that he is open to a move before the window closes. Raum is a very different profile from Balde, but could arguably offer something extremely valuable: experience, reliability, and an ability to contribute both defensively and offensively. He has established himself at the highest level in Germany and has the crossing quality to provide dangerous deliveries into the box. If United want a player who can immediately compete for a starting position rather than simply develop for the future, Raum could be an attractive option. Personally, I think this is the type of signing United should seriously consider if the opportunity is there. Would you prefer the experience of Raum or the explosive potential of Balde? There is also another name being discussed in United's scouting network, Jorge Salinas of Racing Santander. The young defender reportedly has a release clause of around €16 million, making him a considerably cheaper option compared with some of the other names being considered. Atletico Madrid are reportedly already in talks for the 19-year-old, so United would have competition if they decide to make their interest concrete. Salinas would obviously represent more of a developmental signing, and that could be important if United are thinking beyond the immediate season. The Reds need players who can contribute now, but they also need to build a squad capable of competing for years to come. Could Salinas be a clever long-term investment, or should United concentrate entirely on a proven first-team left-back? And then there is Lewis Hall, another name that continues to create plenty of discussion. Manchester United would reportedly have to make Hall the most expensive left-back in football history if they are to convince Newcastle United to sell him this month. That immediately tells you how difficult this deal would be. Hall has enormous potential and has demonstrated his ability to operate at the highest level. But paying an astronomical fee for a left-back would represent a huge financial commitment. From my point of view, United must be careful here. Spending heavily on the right player is one thing. Overpaying simply because the transfer deadline is approaching is something completely different. Would you be happy to see United break the transfer record for a left-back, or would you rather walk away and pursue Balde, Raum, or another alternative? Meanwhile, Manchester United's transfer activity could also extend beyond the full-back position. Reports suggest that United have opened club-to-club talks with Crystal Palace for Jean-Philippe Mateta, with negotiations reportedly beginning this morning. The striker is said to be pushing strongly for a move to Old Trafford, and that could add another fascinating layer to United's final days of the window. Mateta has developed into a powerful and dangerous Premier League striker, capable of holding up the ball, attacking crosses, and causing problems for defenders with his physical presence. If United are genuinely exploring a move, the club would have to decide whether another striker is necessary after the attacking changes made during the summer. But if the opportunity presents itself, Mateta could certainly provide another dimension to the attack. The most interesting part of the Mateta situation is the reported desire of the player himself. When a footballer is pushing for a move, supporters naturally begin to dream. But United have to be disciplined. They cannot simply sign another player because his name becomes available late in the window. The recruitment department must ask whether he genuinely fits Carrick's tactical plans, whether the fee represents value, and whether his arrival would improve the team immediately. Personally, I would understand the interest in Mateta because Premier League experience is valuable. But I would only support the move if United believe he can become an important part of the project rather than another short-term solution. Do you think Mateta would be a good fit at Old Trafford? Then we have the developing situation surrounding Joshua Zirkzee, and this could become one of the biggest stories before deadline day. According to Matteo Moretto, Zirkzee has understood that he is effectively out of Manchester United's project and that the club are open to his departure. That is a significant development because the Dutch forward arrived at Old Trafford with plenty of expectation, but his future now appears increasingly uncertain. Reports indicate that Fiorentina sporting director Fabio Paratici has spoken with Zirkzee's agent Kia Joorabchian to inquire about the financial conditions of a possible deal. Aston Villa have also reportedly made a proposal for Zirkzee as they continue looking for a replacement for Ollie Watkins. However, Zirkzee is reportedly putting the Aston Villa proposal on hold while he waits to see how his situation with Juventus develops. This is where things could become very interesting. If United are willing to sell and the player is looking for a new challenge, the final days of the window could produce a major movement around his future. From my perspective, Zirkzee needs regular football. And if Manchester United's coaching staff no longer see him as a central part of the project, a move could make sense for all parties. But United must also make sure they do not weaken their attacking options without having a suitable replacement or alternative plan in place. Would you sell Zirkzee this summer if the right offer arrived, Reds? And while the transfer market continues to dominate the headlines, there is some very positive news coming from Carrington ahead of Sunday's Premier League clash with Ipswich Town. Mason Mount could return, while Amad Diallo also reportedly has good chances of returning to the team. That could be a huge boost for Michael Carrick after the disappointing opening day defeat against Hull City. Mount's return would give United another technically gifted option between midfield and attack, while Amad's availability would provide more pace, creativity, and unpredictability in the final third. Amad's potential return is particularly exciting because Manchester United have missed his energy and ability to take defenders on. His direct running can change the rhythm of a match, especially against an opponent sitting deep. Mount, meanwhile, brings pressing intensity, intelligent movement, and the ability to connect midfield with the attacking players. If both players are available, Carrick suddenly has more options to change the game from the start or from the bench. Could the return of Mount and Amad be exactly what United need to respond strongly at Old Trafford on Sunday? After losing the opening Premier League game, Manchester United cannot afford another disappointing performance. The pressure will be on Carrick and his players to deliver a response in front of the home supporters. Old Trafford needs to become a fortress again, and that starts with winning football matches. The arrival of Carlos Baleba could strengthen the midfield and provide more physicality, while the potential return of Mount and Amad could improve the attacking balance. Add a new left-back to the equation, and perhaps even another striker such as Mateta, and United could finish the window with a very different-looking squad. But here is my opinion, Reds. Manchester United should not panic buy. The left-back position clearly deserves attention, and if the right opportunity presents itself, United should move quickly. Balde would be an exciting option because of his age, speed, and attacking ability. Raum would offer experience and Premier League-ready quality, while Salinas could be a fascinating long-term investment. Lewis Hall is talented, but I would personally hesitate if Newcastle demand a historic fee. There is still time for United to make the right decision, but the club must remain calm and stick to the recruitment strategy.